Okay, let's get started. Hey ladies, welcome back to the show. Today we're going to talk about self-limiting beliefs and how they can prevent us from achieving the health goals that we desperately desire to make. We will review what limiting beliefs are, some of the more common limiting beliefs that we all have, how limiting beliefs can deter our growth, and some ways to challenge these beliefs. The mission of this podcast is to bring you useful and accurate information that will inspire you to act and make positive changes in your life when it comes to your health. But we all have limiting beliefs that hinder our ability to grow and achieve our most desired goals, no matter how much you want to achieve something. Because of these beliefs, no matter how badly you want something, it really might not be possible to achieve until you can identify and change your surrounding beliefs. Health habits may be hard to implement if we don't truly believe that we can do it. We all know that our health is important, right? We've talked about this many times in the podcast. And I think for a lot of people, we know what to do. It's just the action of how to make something happen. So we all know that our health is important, but we may be carrying around old beliefs that actually prevent us from making the changes we desire when it comes to our health. What you think and believe about yourself matters, and it often then becomes the story that shapes the actions that you take in moving forward towards achieving your goals and the dreams that you have. I have a ton of my own beliefs. When I first decided that I wanted to start a podcast, I was really scared of rejection and what people thought of me. And I still continue to be. And also the fear of like being exposed and having to be vulnerable. That was really, really scary for me. So the idea and this desire that I had to do this podcast sat for many months because I was scared and I had all these beliefs that I didn't think that I could do it. But my desire to serve you and to serve others outweighed my fear. And then I was able to come around to do it. But I had to really challenge myself along the way and the limiting beliefs that I have, such as maybe not being good enough or smart enough. I had to challenge that to get the podcast published. So that's why I want to talk about limiting beliefs. I think when it comes to health, again, I think that it sounds so crazy, like if you want something, then you can just make it happen. I think there's a little bit more of a complexity to that thought. And I just wanted to kind of explore the idea of limiting beliefs since I've encountered them in my own life. And I wanted to kind of, as I've explored this, I wanted to kind of teach you what I've learned, but in no means am I an expert. So if this is something that you feel like you need further exploring on, then certainly seek out a therapist to help you with that. What is a belief anyway? A belief is a sort of an acceptance of what we think to be true. They are formed in childhood. They are usually from like previous memories or experiences that we've had. Beliefs are from assumptions that we've acquired along the way through any of our past failures or achievements. And it might just be the beliefs that we have also just might be a product of the environment that we grew up in. The beliefs that we have may be conscious or unconscious, And sometimes you may have these thoughts that you don't even know you don't even know exist. And these thoughts shape our desires, our decisions, actions, and any movement towards the potential life that we desire to have and who we want to be. These beliefs may have served us in the past, but as we get older, we may start to see that we don't need them anymore and they're actually starting to hinder our growth. For the purpose of this podcast, we will talk about how limiting beliefs may hinder your health goals because the podcast is focused on health and wellness. Some beliefs can also become sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy or a prediction that what you believe ends up becoming true. So when you have a positive belief in that you can do something, it's probably more likely that you're going to achieve the success that you desire, right? But when you have a belief that's negative or that you can't do something, this can put you in a place where you feel like you can't really make growth happen, and it may be hard for you to achieve your desired health goal or outcome. This is what's called a limiting belief. In health, these limiting beliefs may look something or sound something like this in your head, right? I'm not good enough. To be worthy, I have to be thinner, skinnier, richer, prettier, smarter, or younger. I'm too old to do something. It could be something like, I don't have enough motivation to make a change. I'm lazy. It could be something like, I can't lose weight because my family is big boned or overweight, or I have bad genetics. I can't make things that I want happen, or something like, I don't have enough time. I can't make that happen. Why these beliefs are harmful is that they can then become the narrative of what we believe about ourselves. When we think these thoughts repeatedly without even knowing or challenging them, these thoughts become who we think we are, even if that's not who we are. We end up creating beliefs about ourselves that may not be accurate. And then every time we think the belief, we affirm it, and it becomes the story of who we are. Even if the belief is not true, it ends up becoming a story that can stay with us and prevent us from achieving our true potential. Louise Hay talks a lot about this negative self-talk and beliefs, and she says, if you accept a limiting belief, then it will become a truth for you. We may not even like some of the beliefs that we carry around, but we may take comfort in the familiarity of it. We may be really uncomfortable with the belief, but we may even be more uncomfortable with changing the belief than the belief itself, no matter how much we dislike the belief. So, for example, I struggle with anxiety. I've had anxiety in my whole life. There's sometimes that I know that I'm saying things to myself that are making that anxiety worse. And I've been in therapy for years. But sometimes for me, even though I know I'm having this and that I can control it, because it's such a familiar feeling for me, even though it's really uncomfortable, it's something that I don't want to take the time to work on or to do anything because it's familiar and uncomfortable, but comfortable at the same time, if that makes any sense. So self-limiting beliefs may even provide you with some sense of pleasure or satisfaction, making it really hard for you to want to change it. What we tell ourselves affects the actions we take in achieving our goal. So if we have a positive belief that we can achieve something, then we will be more likely for that goal to happen. Then if we have a self-limiting belief about that same goal. So for instance, if one of your goals is to increase your exercise, and you have a positive mindset about exercise. I'm going to redo that last sentence. For instance, if one of your goals is to increase your exercise and you have a positive mindset about exercise and its benefits, then it will be more likely for you to achieve that than if you have the self-limiting belief that exercise won't make a difference, or a belief that you'll just regain the weight or that you don't have time to do it. And then how do you know if you have a self-limiting belief around a behavior? Oftentimes, these beliefs, if you don't know it, it may manifest itself in ways such as you're making excuses to not do the behavior that you want. You could be procrastinating. You might be trying to do the behavior perfectly, so you're having a perfectionism that's limiting you from actually making the goal happen. You could be complaining about it or having some negative self-talk about it. And then also you could display something like constant worrying about the behavior. So these are all kind of ways to know that you might have a self-limiting belief around the behavior that you want to change. What do we do to change the limiting beliefs once we've identified that we have them? No. What do we do to change the limiting belief that we have? First, acknowledge the self-limiting belief. Decide what goal it is that you want to achieve. And then what are some of the thoughts that you have surrounding this goal that are negative, that are going to probably hinder you from achieving this goal? List the belief on a piece of paper and then acknowledge why you need to believe this. What does the belief do? Is the belief something that served you in the past and you don't need it anymore? So the first thing is just to acknowledge it. So for example, if exercise, since we've talked about that, that seems to be the theme, the example that we're using. If your limiting belief around exercise is, I'm too busy or I'm too lazy, acknowledge that. If you don't acknowledge it, it's going to be really hard to change the behavior in the long run. Second, you're going to challenge this belief. So is this belief real, first of all, and then challenge it. Put as much doubt as you have in this belief. The more evidence that you have to go against this belief, the more likely you are to be able to see it as a belief that's just limiting you. It's not true. It's just something that you've told yourself is true and that you've believed it all these years. And then also list the consequences of not changing this belief. Really see the pain of what this belief is causing you, and how it's causing you to stay the same and not make the change that you really desire. So an example is, instead of being too busy or lazy to exercise, challenge that belief. I can make time to exercise. I've made time to exercise in the past. And then what's the consequence of not doing the exercise? If I don't exercise, then it will be hard for me to feel good, become stronger, and then lose the weight I desire. So we've talked about acknowledging the belief, challenging the belief, and then the last part of this, the third thing, is creating a new belief. See how this new belief will make you feel better and move closer to what you want to become. And then visualize and imagine yourself achieving this goal. In creating this new belief, really figure out and see how it's going to get you to be the person that you're trying to become. So, for example, the new belief that you have surrounding exercise could be something like, I love exercise. It makes my body and mind more powerful and strong than it was before. And then practice saying this new belief out loud. Exercise makes my body and mind strong and powerful. And then find empowering quotes or videos to help remind you of this new belief and to convince you of this new belief. And then continue to provide yourself evidence of this new belief. So every time that you exercise, remember that so that it reinforces all that you're doing to make and create this new belief that you're trying to form. So what self-limiting beliefs are holding you back today from achieving your desired goals? Think about it. What are you telling yourself? The thoughts you have about yourself matter. They may not be true, and they may just be telling the story. They may not be true and are instead serving the story you are telling yourself so that you don't achieve the goals that you really want. Realizing these beliefs will help us achieve the desired goals that we have. Limiting beliefs are so deeply rooted that you may find it beneficial to work with a therapist, a licensed professional, to help you identify and challenge some of your own core beliefs. I know that it's worked for me, and I know it could work for you too. The journey to self-care, wellness, and health is going to take you outside of your comfort zone. It may even sound woo-woo, like it's sounding woo-woo probably today. But I just want to acknowledge that it's not always easy, and it's not always as simple as deciding that you're going to make a change and then it happens. I just want you to see the complexities of it, and I want to be honest about those complexities because sometimes it's something that we don't even think about or acknowledge because they're so subconscious. But know that growth and change come from discomfort and challenge, and that having the whole health that you really want, it's not an impossibility, but it's a choice and it's something that you can make happen. So I want you to start where you're at. Look at all the things, look at any self-limiting beliefs that you have in your own life, and just start to challenge them and figure out if they're real, and then start to reframe them and reinforce the new beliefs that you have about yourself. This whole process of changing, it's not about being perfect. It's about being 1% better each day and then compounding that over many, many days. Be kind to yourself, and thanks for listening today. I'll see you back here next week.